Traoré struggled to live up to his billing at Villa with injury and inconsistency holding the Barcelona graduate back during the Premier League relegation season. But the Spanish winger has been flying on Teesside to spearhead Boro's championship playoff push. Traoré has become a fan's favourite at the Riverside Stadium and has developed a strong bond with Boro fans. So much so that the 22-year-old shared a moment of unity with the travelling supporters at the end of Middlesbrough's 2-2 draw with Ipswich Town on Sunday afternoon. As if his performances weren't exciting enough, his generous gesture has cranked up the Adama Traoré Appreciation Society even further. Traoré headed for the away end at full time at Portman Road and started handing out shirts with his name and number on, and the word "believe." Boro boss Tony Pulis has certainly started to believe in the rapid wideman who has been a star of the club's rise to a fifth-placed finish. Villa apologized to disgruntled supporters over playoff scheduling. He has become an important player for Pulis. Asked how he has been able to get the best out of the mercurial flanker, Pulis said, "I just think it's been a case of unwinding everything that might have been swinging around in his head. He's a wide player, and we want him to run up the pitch in a wide position. Every time he gets it, that's what we want for him. He's a fantastic player. He's as quick as any player I've ever worked with in terms of his pace off the mark. He's a strong lad too. The best thing about him, though, is that he's a good lad and a good professional to work with. He's quiet and quite reserved, and we just want him to go out and enjoy himself." Boro v Villa, TV details, team news, predicted 11, latest odd, every time he gets it, we want him to run forward with it. We don't want him to be coming inside and trying to do anything too clever. We just want him to get the ball and play off his instinct. That's what he's done. He's been creating chances and scoring goals, and he's been fantastic for us. The Boro experts' view. Here's what Dominic Shaw, who covers Middlesbrough for the Gazette, had to say about Traoré and Pulis. On the day Traoré was linked with Chelsea and other Premier League clubs, Pulis told of how Boro don't want to be losing him. He wasn't talking about the summer and the transfer speculation, though. Rather the here and now and the hefty challenges that the Boro boss believes are still coming the way of a terrific player with wonderful ability. Ipswich caretaker boss Brian Klug, while incredibly complimentary of Traoré, talked after Sunday's match about how the winger gets Boro fouls. Pulis doesn't want the winger to get fouls. The lengths Aston Villa are going to prepare for the playoff showdown with Middlesbrough. He wants the winger to get protection and says he's seen numerous tackles on his star man recently that have been blatant fouls. The timing may well be tactical and an early message to the playoff officials. Villa know all about Traoré but were spared the trouble of trying to shackle him at Villa Park at the start of the season when eagerness to impress became recklessness and he picked up that early red. Villa will no doubt target Traoré. Most teams do, but it doesn't tend to make much difference. Podcast. Middlesbrough boss Tony Pulis has attempted to swing the pendulum of playoff pressure Aston Villa's way. Speaking ahead of the semi-final doubleheader, Pulis insists Villa are favourites to progress into the final. "We have got Villa, who most probably have the strongest squad in the championship, and it will be a real tough game," said Pulis. "They will be big favourites, I'm sure." Boro host Steve Bruce's team at the Riverside on Saturday evening before the return leg at Villa Park on Tuesday night. Here's what Middlesbrough expert Dominic has to say about Pulis' mind games. Boro have had a target on their head all season. They've been a team to beat. They've been a scalp, he said. Yet, suddenly, Boro are the underdogs. According to Pulis, anyway. He was quick to heap the pressure on Villa post-match. In two separate interviews, he described Bruce's side as favourites and insisted they have the strongest squad in the championship. That was clearly a message he wanted to get across. Does he really believe it? Well, the bookies don't agree. They can't split the sides. The lengths Aston Villa are going to prepare for the playoff showdown with Middlesbrough. Only in the last few weeks have Boro looked anything like the team that have been talked up by opposition bosses throughout the campaign. Now, though, it's Boro's boss shifting the weight of expectation. The boot is on the other foot. At the start of the season, Boro, having been relegated from the Premier League, were among the bookies' favourites to go up. It didn't go according to plan under former boss Gary Monk, and it took the mid-season arrival of Pulis to ignite their promotion push. Even their slow start didn't stop opposition bosses from talking the Riverside club up each weekend. Depending on how far back you go, Boro have either underachieved to finish fifth or have exceeded expectations, added Dominic. Imagine, before a ball was kicked this season, had someone told you Boro were going to have to find a late flurry of form just to wrap up a playoff place and that they'd finish the season 23 points adrift of the league winners. Now, though, imagine if someone had told you after the February defeat to Cardiff that Boro would have themselves a guaranteed playoff place with a game to spare. Why does what's gone before matter? Well, it doesn't. But before a ball was kicked this season, Boro were the team being talked about. And that continued throughout the campaign. Even when the Saturday afternoon evidence was of a team coming up desperately short, Boro were still talked up by opposition managers. The quality of the squad, the expense of the signings, the experience in the ranks. More Villa news. Former Aston Villa manager Tim Sherwood has held talks with managerless Ipswich Town, according to reports in the national media. Sherwood, 49, hasn't held a managerial position since he was sacked by Villa in October 2015. He held a director of football role at Swindon Town for a short period in 2016-17 but departed once relegation to League Two was confirmed. During his time out of the game, Sherwood has been doing punditry work to keep busy and can regularly be heard on Sky Sports. Ipswich made the decision to part company with Mick McCarthy towards the end of the campaign after supporters' relationship with the manager reached breaking point. The Championship club are believed to want a manager capable of bringing a more attractive style to Portman Road next season. Ex-Spurs head coach Sherwood, who spent 3 years playing for Norwich City, has only held 2 senior managerial positions since retiring from the game in 2005. Boateng, Villa must go up. Former Villa Park favourite George Boateng has warned Aston Villa they face a long time in the Championship if they don't win the playoffs. Villa take on Middlesbrough in the playoff semi-finals after securing 4th spot across a 46-game Championship season. Steve Bruce's team play the first leg of the Riverside on Saturday evening before they host Boro on Tuesday, where their fate will be decided. Boateng, who left Villa in 2002 for Middlesbrough, reckons the Claret and Blues hold all the cards, but he insists Villa have more to lose. Villa has slight advantage over Middlesbrough, Boateng told the Gazette. Fulham has a slight advantage over Middlesbrough, so this is why I am saying the expectations shouldn't be so high for Middlesbrough. But obviously, if you make the playoffs and you get to the final is the toss of a coin, so anything can happen in the playoffs. But based on the season, and form, and the players that the teams have, Villa have to get up this season. I think that if Villa don't get up this season, I think that we might not see Villa in the Premier League for a long, long time. Financially, it will be a big problem for them, but also trying to attract players to Villa again will be even harder. They have players there that if they don't make it, they will also be looking to leave, like Jack Grealish. Jonathan Kodjia is still there. So they have players to win, but they have to deliver because it's either up or under for Aston Villa this season.